with type 1. Several years ago, I met a fellow friend of mine. He's become a very good friend. His name's Phil Southerland. He developed type 1 early in age, before age 2. And I met him fresh out of University of Georgia, and I met him at a diabetes event, and he came up to greet me, and he said, "I am here to cure diabetes. I want to form a team to do so." And I said, "I'd be happy to help you and introduce you. And I'd like to have Phil talk about what it's like to live with type 1. He has clearly perfected diabetes. He's helped millions of people out there who have diabetes by their awareness on how to better control diabetes. So Phil, if you can come on up to the stage. Thank you.
So how is everyone doing tonight? We having fun? For a good cause? I'm not from New York, I just sound like that on occasion. So I'd like to thank you all very much for coming out here, especially all you mothers who have your big day tomorrow. And over the next few minutes, I'd like to kind of pay a tribute to my mom, who's right over there in the corner. Mom, stand up, do dance. Oh, right there. She's taking pictures as always. But, so I know I might look 16 years old, but I was actually born about 28 years ago. And, I was a healthy, happy baby boy. Never cried, never woke my mom up in the middle of the night until, one day some things changed. Do we have any mothers in the room? I see a show of hands. Who's had a sick child at some point? How's that feel? Give me some words. Terrible? Scared? What else? Well, I got sick. So my mom took me to a doctor, and they said, "Your child's got the flu." I continued urinating frequently, unquenchable thirst, and she took me to another doctor the next day who said, "Your son's got the flu." Fortunate for me, and I'll eat these words as I have for 28 years, my mother's a very stubborn lady. And the next day, after I'd lost 10 pounds in 2 days at the ripe age of 7 months old, she carried me, essentially dying in her arms, into the hospital, said, "Please fix my baby, please fix my baby." A 7-month-old had never been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes before. And so my mother went about, just pushing test after test after test, until finally a doctor came back and said, "Ma'am, we have good news and we have bad news. The good news is your son's going to live. But the bad news is, based on his age of diagnosis and the current treatment and technology that's out there, he'll be lucky to live to 25, and if he does, he'll either have renal failure or be blind." Now, should any mother, any group of parents, mother and father, have to hear those words about their child? No, they shouldn't. And a big thanks to JDRF and the work they've done over the past 28 years, because as you can see, I can still see, there are lights back there. Eloise is in the back of the room. And it's because of nights like this that this all happened. But there's a lot of work that goes on in the in-between. We found out early on that exercise makes a difference. If I was exercising, if I was running around, checking my blood sugar was better, the insulin worked better. So how do you relay that to a kid that what you do today matters 25 years down the road? At 6 years old, my mom took a different tack than most, but one I'm very grateful that she did. As a birthday party, and it's time for cake. Do we have any type 1 kids in the room? Come on. Anyone with type 1 diabetes? Let me see some hands. Heather Muffin, where are you? Heather Kipnis, she's my best friend. So it was time for cake, and my mom said, "Yeah, sure, have your cake, just do your shot first." I said, "Well, I don't want to do my shot." I'm sure parents, who's heard that before? Anybody? Yeah, I hear a few laughs. Someone's heard that. And she said, "That's fine, you'll go blind." Huh? Even at 6 years old, I know what it means to see and to not see. We played peekaboo growing up. And she says, "Don't do your shot. Don't take care of yourself, you ungrateful. You'll be blind by the time you graduate college." And I begged and I begged and I begged, and finally I got my shot. And at 6 years old, I became the CEO of my own body, making the day-by-day steps necessary to ensure that I kept my eyesight. Now, So time went on, and I was very grateful about the fact that I got to check my blood sugar, that I got to do shots. And let me tell you, the insulins back then were nowhere near what we have today. None of the parents in this room today have to hear those words uttered to them that they uttered to my mother. Because with technology that's out there today, every kid in here will see, until they're 120 years old, whether they like it or not. Right? So my mom found out about this exercise and put me into swim lessons because exercise is good. And so for 5 years, I stared at squares at the bottom of a pool as I swam back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And this got ridiculously boring, and finally I quit. Why? Because I found a more entertaining form of sport to play, the bicycle. For most of the time, I'd been sheltered from the good foods in life. I hadn't got to enjoy them until around 12 years old. I found out what a Snickers bar tasted like. They pay me no money. I swear to God, I just loved a Snickers bar. But I didn't have the patience to wait 2 hours for my insulin to kick in back then. But if I rode my bike for 5 minutes, I had to eat a Snickers bar. If I rode for 10 minutes, I could eat another one. So I rode so I could eat. And as I got more and more addicted to the sport of cycling, I ate so that I could ride. It was a vicious cycle that spent all of my allowance at the gas station 5 minutes from my house. And riding turned into racing, and racing became a passion of mine. And it was at my first senior year at the University of Georgia, after competing in... I thought you were all dog fans. So my first senior year at the University of Georgia, that I met my best friend, Joe Eldridge. Joe had been diagnosed at 10 years old. He'd taken care of it for the first 8 years of diagnosis, but then as he went away to college, he kind of let things slip. Diabetes is the only disease out there that's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Every second, every food that you eat, every calorie that you burn, you have to think about what that means to your blood sugar. It can be very difficult, and Joe he let it go aside. I was checking my blood sugar, thanks to my mother, 15 to 20 times a day, 7 to 10 shots a day, so that I could keep my eyesight. Joe was checking his blood sugar once a day, doing 1, maybe 2 shots a day, doing the bare minimum necessary to make it till tomorrow. And as our friendship got closer and closer, I began getting frustrated. But he's a competitive guy, and we both had the same interest in food. So one day I said to Joe, we're going to place a bet. He goes, all right, what? He's a country boy from Auburn, Alabama. And, huh? And I said, higher blood sugar pays for dinner. And for 3 months, I ate for free. I'd had nothing but ramen noodles for 6 months before I met this guy, and now I was eating good. But as time went on, Joe got better and better and better. And one day he knocks on my door, and I said, he said, let's check, which is the first time he's ever said this in our friendship. I say, all right. And I'm thinking, I've been set up or I've been set up. Sure enough, we check. My suspicions were confirmed. He cheated. But how do you cheat in the diabetes game? He checked his blood sugar 4 times on the 2-hour car ride from Auburn to Athens. He did a shot an hour before he got to my door. That's how you cheat in the diabetes game. Right? And he won. And I dug the money out from under my couch, and I paid for dinner that night. His dinner, because I couldn't afford both of them. And after dinner, Joe says, Phil, you changed my life. You showed me that diabetes is about attitude. It's about just wanting to take control. And because of you, I'm going to take care of it. Because of you, I'm going to see my grandkids grow up one day. Thank you. And at that point, my life changed. I wanted to give back. I wanted to help people. And I expressed this to Joe. And we ended up forming this organization called Team Type 1. And the goal of Team Type 1 was to show people that by taking care of it, by checking your blood sugar, doing your shots, healthy and active lifestyle, you can achieve any dream that you set forth. And Joe said, well, why don't we go do something cool? Let's go to this JDRF Ride to Cure. That's where I met my good friend John Hip. John, Mr. Gray Hair, come on, let's see it. John's a great guy. And so we do this 100-mile bike ride. And someone had heard this same story, and after the ride says, hey guys, what's your blood sugar? One of ours was 88, the others was 87. No real loser there, plus dinner was free, it didn't matter. And sometime that night, we're toasting an adult beverage after the 100-mile bike ride, and someone said, you guys should do something big with Team Type 1. Make it huge. Ride your bikes across America. We're both fresh graduates of college saying, heck no, that'd take forever. But race across America. And so at that point, on May 19th, 2006, we said, we're going to put a full team of Type 1 diabetics and the bike race across America. And we're going to win. There were some doubters out there. There were some people who didn't think it was going to happen. But it's because of those people that, it did happen. I got that stubbornness from my mom, and I wasn't going to let them be right. So we put our team together, and I told Bruce Bodie, Bruce, where are you? You saw Bruce. Most brilliant doctor in the world. He's helped me master my diabetes, as he has for most of you out here. And for those of you who see him, I hope you know how lucky you are, because he really is the creme de la creme in the world of diabetes. I've met a million doctors, but none with the passion and the knowledge that he has. So again, a round of applause for Bruce. But I came to Bruce and I said, Bruce, we're doing this race. He goes, you're what? But he put me on a research study with a Freestyle Navigator to show that your blood sugar all the time. When I was diagnosed, my mom was squeezing urine out of a diaper to find out where my blood sugar was 4 hours ago. And then under Bruce's care, I get a machine that tells me where my blood sugar is and where it's going in 15 minutes. The fortune teller of diabetes. It was brilliant. But to do this race across America, we had to have this device. And it's the device that's kind of opened the doors to the closed loop system that so many people at JDRF are now working on. So we get the Freestyle Navigator, 8 people with diabetes line up for this bike race, and we set forth. But we had no idea how to use the technology, and our blood sugars are all over the place. And the first day and a half of the race, we lose 2 hours to a team of professional bike racers. But then we figure out that if our blood sugar is between 140 and 180, and we keep it there, we go fast. And we use this technology, that is the latest and greatest in diabetes, and we kept our blood sugars there. And as the race went on, we made up time on this team of professional bike racers. In Missouri, we caught them, and then it was neck and neck the entire way across the country until we got to Atlantic City, New Jersey. 5 days, 16 hours, 4 minutes, coast to coast, but second place by 3 minutes. I hate losing. So we said we're going to come back and do it faster. But now we've got this new knowledge of where our blood sugars need to be for the entire 3,000 miles, not just 2,300 of them. And we set off. Mind you, I'm 25 years old at this point. I'm supposed to be 6 feet under. I'm supposed to be blind. I'm supposed to have renal failure. I decided to skip all that stuff and do a bike ride across the country with my buddies. And so we took off, controlling our blood sugars near perfectly the whole time. Bruce had put us all on phenomenal technology. We were using the Omnipod, we had a Pedra in our pumps, we had the Navigators again, we had the best of the best in the diabetes world. And it's because we had the best of this technology that we were able to succeed. Well, we got to the finish line this time, 5 days, 15 hours, 43 minutes. A new world record, first place. Oh yeah, well, what? We had to wait 3 hours for second place, this team of professional bike racers, to show up. So we decided at that point we're going to put a type 1 diabetic in the Tour de France and do it by 2012. And so in 2008 we turned a professional team. We put type 1s on the podium in 3 different continents, and we've shown the world that with good control, you can do it. But the thing is, it's not always perfect. I've had type 1s on my team that haven't been able to control it in a race, and have had poor results because of it. Diabetes never causes you to lose. It's just a mismanagement of the diabetes. But the thing is, it's very difficult to manage this disease all the time, which is why I'm a big proponent of all the technology going towards the closed loop system, to kind of take the error that is very easy to happen out of the equation. Because without this error, we'll be winning the Tour de France, and I hope that's the case by 2012. So 2008, we raced in six different countries. Last year, we've now got 40 athletes with type 1, 18 with type 2. We're going to be doing the Tour de California next week, which is the biggest bike race in the world. And I've got a teammate, Javier Mejias Lil, type 1 from Spain, who's going to be kicking Lance Armstrong's butt next week. You can get one of his signed jerseys here next year at the Gala, so come back. Right, John? So, but the thing is, it's my dream to wake up one day and no one goes blind from this disease. And it's because of you being here in the room that this can happen. It's because of all of us, Bruce, Dr. Anderson, everyone who shows up to Camp Kudzu on a regular basis to help these kids, realize that, with good control, you can achieve any dream you set forth. And it's just having that constant drive and that constant desire 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year to take care of it that allows it to come true. So please, I encourage you all tonight for the rest of the evening, help make my dream come true. And, with your help, we can do that. And with that, Mom, could you please come up here? Because she is the most special woman in my life. Jack, you too. And, this is for all you mothers out there who get up and check your son's blood sugar, check your son or daughter's blood sugar in the middle of the night, who always worry. Happy Mother's Day in advance to all of you, but especially to my favorite, my mother. I love you.